Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here today, supporting the cause again. I want to thank everybody who has been supporting the channel. I want to thank all the likes, all the comments, all the shares, all the positive messaging. Everybody knows that we are not here to judge each other, but we are here to support each other in whatever way we can learn, or if anybody has some life experience that they want to share with somebody, we are here to grow. Okay. We are all here to grow. We are all here to support each other, and that's exactly what we do. We don't want to talk about politics. We don't want to talk about religion. I'm gonna say what I've always done, and is I've always welcomed everybody. I don't care what your background is, what your religion is, what your culture is. I don't give a crap. You know, we are here for each other, and that's what we're gonna do. So thank you to everybody who was out there supporting. I really appreciate everything that you guys are doing, and let's get into it. A few situations that have been coming up in the past. Back in 2021, maybe 2022, you know, we were all still dealing with the tail end of COVID. You know, we were still dealing with the vaccine mandates, and we were dealing with everything that it is that we have to deal with, you know. And many of you know that that's when I started doing construction. That's when I started doing my side jobs, you know. And there wasn't a lot of work out there, especially for those people that didn't want to get vaxxed, especially for those, you know, it was just, jobs are very limited. A lot of people were not working. A lot of people were out of work. It was a very hard time, you know. Not everybody was getting those nice government checks, you know. I, for one, I can tell you right now that I wasn't one of the ones that was getting those nice checks. You know, I had to do what I had to do. I had just bought my house. You know, I had just bought a couple vehicles. I was trying to make ends meet, and then to top it off, I got sick, you know, and then one thing led to the other, and I ended up in the hospital getting a couple surgeries, and it was a tough time, you know. So we went out there and we did what we had to do to survive, you know. And through the process, I learned a lot. One of the things that I learned is that not everybody's going to appreciate your work the way that it is meant to be. You go out there and you do something good for somebody, and you think you're helping them out, and they turn around and they stab you in the back. And that goes for workers, and that goes for those people that you're doing the work for. One situation in particular that that I had lately that I'm still dealing with now is, you know, a lawsuit that I had from like I said, 2020, 2021, 2022, around there. And I never knew about this lawsuit because they weren't serving people. They weren't allowed to go to your house. The mail was all jacked up, you know, so I never got served. You know, I found out I had a bench warrant because I missed court. And I was just like, what the hell's going on, you know? It is what it is, right? You deal with it, you know, you go out there and try to do the right thing. But anyway, I had these particular clients that decided that they were going to go out there and sue because they paid too much for their concrete, or I didn't have a license. So what did they do? They reported me with the California State License Board, with the CSLB, right? They went out there and they reported me with the CSLB. And I'm not going to name names. I don't do that for the legality of it, and because, you know, it don't matter what you do, you know, you don't make anybody feel bad, you know, even though what they did was wrong. So anyways, they thought they were gonna get away with getting their job done for free. Went out there and did their job for $13,500. And I can honestly tell you that if I knew then what I know now as a contractor, as an actual contractor, I would have never charged those people $13,500. Not only did I not make money on this job, but everybody knows that in constructions, you always run into hiccups. You know, that's why you have to know how to charge. You have to know, you know, what your overhead is, what your fuel is, what all that good stuff is, you know, because it's gonna it's gonna bite you in the ass. Labor and materials, especially in those days, they were very expensive. And you can go to Home Depot and you'll see that that a piece of wood was $327, and you come back the next day and it's almost $7 for the same piece of wood. So you can take that for what it is. And then back in those days, there was also a shortage in the materials used to create concrete, right? So all the plants, a lot of them were low and slow, and they just didn't have the resources to get the materials out there to you. So it is what it is. So anyways, I go out there and I do this job for these people, $13,500. I said, okay, I just want to make my $200 a day. I want to make $200 a day, and I'm going to give these people, and I thought I had everything planned out. I turn around, I find out that the materials a lot of them are doubled. A lot of the, I guess a lot of the quick materials were doubled. Wood and rebar and stuff like that. They all doubled. The concrete went up at least 25% in a price hike overnight. I guess it's coming from China or whatever. So anyways, I went out there and I did this freaking job, right? And I find out that everything's so much more expensive than I thought. I thought I had done my research, but like I said, you go in the next day and you're done with, because everything's so much more expensive. So given the honest person that I am, I still went out there and I finished the job. I did a really good job on it too, man. I wish I could post up pictures right now, but we're not done with court. But anybody would look at this job, and I think it was like 22 or 24 yards. It was 2 truckloads and a cleanup, right? And stamped concrete, labor cost, machine cost, and throwaway charge and fuel charges and everything. It is what it is, right? And I charged them $13,500. This freaking job. It was a stamped concrete with an edge on it. It had a platform. I mean, like I said, if I knew then what I know now, that job would have been more than double what I have charged, because of the labor that went into it, because of everything that went into it. I ended up losing money on this job, but it was okay, because there were some people that needed money more than I did, and I'm glad I kept them busy. So I had to dig in my own pockets to pay those people, something that you're never supposed to do as a contractor. You go out of business quick. And there goes one of my failures, right? I always talk about how I failed in my construction business. Well, there goes one of the failures, right? And so anyways, these people, I swear, man, I'm not gonna say names, not yet. I'm not gonna post pictures, not yet, right? But this guy's a business owner too, and details cars or whatever. And besides that, he thinks he paid too much, even though when he gave me the job, he said that I was the cheapest one. And then on top of that, he still goes out there and says, hey, is this the cheapest you can do? And I said, well, yeah, man. I mean, I can't go anymore. I don't know, for some stupid reason, just because I wanted it, right? He did his research and he calls me back. He goes, hey, if you want to do it for this much, job is yours. So I said, all right, man, let's do it for $13,000, right? $13,500, went up $500 because he wanted sod. It was like 500 square feet of sod in his backyard with sprinklers, man. I charged him $500 fucking dollars for it. But anyways, you make mistakes out there. You learn from those mistakes. And just when you think that, it just can't get any worse, you turn around and you find out that you're being sued because they think that they paid too much, and there's some shady people out there, man. This lady had 2 different businesses without unlicensed businesses. things that, should have been registered with the Department of Commerce and the FDA, I guess, because, she was making her own shit out there selling alcohol and what have you to minors. And I really don't give a crap, right? Because growing up Mexican, man, I'm not gonna say some of the things that I've done when I was a kid, but let's just say that we didn't wait till we were 21 to start drinking alcohol. We were bartenders. Our first job as Mexicans are bartenders. We were a 5-year-old bartender. You learned what beer they were talking about when they asked you for a beer. Your uncle, would drink, let's say, Corona. The other one would drink Tecate, and the other one would drink Modelos. And you knew you had to bring one of each. Our first job was a bartender. And then, if you got them drunk enough, they'd give you a tip. They'll be like, oh, here's 10 pesos. I remember 10 pesos just to get us a drink in a sandwich bag with a straw and a rubber band so you wouldn't spill it. And it would buy a gansito, or it would buy a virote with sour cream and jalapeno. When you were 5 years old, back in the day, that was the shit. Anybody who can relate, feel more than happy to comment. And so that's just how it was, right? So I never judged this girl, man. It's COVID. It is what it is. Do what you gotta do. And then she was making bubble waffles. It's like these waffles in a cup. And you put all strawberry, whatever it is that you put on them, right? It's like an ice cream sundae, man. But it's not cold and it's not ice cream. They're waffles, right? She'll go out there and do these parties. Like I said, I don't judge. I don't give a damn what you do. I don't care how you make your money. I really don't. But going after people that are doing the same shit, knowing that you're twice as guilty, that just hits a new nerve. It really does. So these people want to get this money back, this fucking job, and it looks like they might get it. I was shit. I'm guilty as charged. I was working without a license. It is what it is. Get caught up. You learn some, you win some, you lose some. It don't matter. You move on. It's just money. Money comes and goes. I really don't give a damn. Because what we see as a loss is not supposed to be viewed as a loss or a failure. Just like my brother Gustavo always says, man, it's a lesson. It's a life lesson. Just learn from it, man. Go out there and, learn from it. And if you can tell somebody else not to make the same mistake as you, then do it, Do it. It's not gonna hurt anybody. It's not gonna cost you anything. Not like you're going out there and you're charging for advice, But it don't bother me one bit, man. I say, you know what? Fuck it. I gotta pay up this money. Don't matter. It don't matter. Because what one person sees as a lot of money, or tries to get one over on you, see, life will catch up to you, man. And one thing I learned about the word karma is that the word karma means action. It means an action, something that is done. Now, you do something and the universe rewards you accordingly. I don't wish bad on nobody, man. I honestly hope that their freaking car washing or car detailing business succeeds. I hope that they have their papers in line. And for some reason, I hope that she gets calls to go do her fucking bubble waffles, man. And she sells his bedazzled bottles of, liquor. I don't give a crap, I hope everybody succeeds, and just remember that whatever you wish on people, you're going to get back tenfold. Tenfold. That is my belief. That's why I never wish bad on anybody. I have been blessed, coming from where I came from. What that lady doesn't know is that just a couple years before COVID hit and I bought my house and I started my business and I went out there and I started hustling, I was homeless. I was living out of my car. I didn't have money for food. Anybody that goes out there and knows what it's like to sleep in your car, you will detail your car, and let me tell you why. Because you're hoping to find loose change that fell in the tire compartment, the trunk, under the seat. You're going to empty out your center console, your glove box. You're going to try to find anything you can find. So like myself, you can go down to the 7-Eleven and buy a big gulp with a hot dog, and it hurts. Knowing where you come from, it hurts, And I'm not even going to start getting into what it was like when I was a kid, because living out of my car, going through what I went through, was like staying in a 5-star hotel. If I was to tell you how I really grew up. So I thank God every day that I am where I am right now. I thank him for his blessings, which is something that we should all do. The key to getting ahead in life is gratitude. You need to be grateful for what you have. Just like Steve Harvey said one day, God is not going to give you more things if you are not grateful for what you have right now. You think he's going to bless you with extra stuff, with more stuff, so you can be more ungrateful for that stuff too? Don't forget that what you received now, up to now, is something that you prayed for. You need to have that mindset that no matter what it is that you want in this world, you can get. All you have to do is affirm it. And it needs to be an actual affirmation. You need to see yourself in that vehicle, but you also need to see yourself working your ass off for that vehicle, and you will get it. And then you want a nice house? Yeah. I would go park outside the house that I bought right now before I knew I could even afford it. And I would see my kids running outside and, having a barbecue, doing some concrete. And I did. And I prayed for it. And I got it. And I thank God for it. I affirmed it. I imagined it. Whatever it is that you imagine now is going to happen in the future. You just have to affirm it. But affirmation is only half of the process. The other half of the process is you got to work your ass off. The bigger the dream, the more you're going to have to work. And let me tell you people something about failure. You are what you surround yourself with. So if you surround yourself with rap music that has to do with bitches and hoes, then everybody knows that bitches and hoes come and go. Money comes and goes. Nobody gives a damn about bitches and hoes anymore, man. All that stuff of feminism and all that bull crap, all that. Nobody cares about that stuff right now. It's all about hustling, man. Hustling. Be about it. Have something to show for it. Especially in tough times, man. Everybody honors everybody's hard work and how they're making it through tough times. Shit, man. Be about it, But going back to what I was saying, if you want to succeed, you need to experience failure. Failure is a part of life. You need to fail. You need to fail to get ahead in life. You need to fail to learn. Failures are not just what everybody thinks is, something that came and went, didn't work out. Failures are lessons, and how you get up and how you respond to those failures is going to determine what you're going to become in the future. Something that I also learned from my brother Gustavo, man. Every time I failed, man, I failed harder than the last, and I lost more and more and more. So my message to you is, the harder you fail, the harder it's going to be a lot harder to get up. The harder you fail, the harder it is to get up. But if you make the effort to get up, and you actually do, don't go back to the same level where you were before. Go harder. Okay? The other thing is, to double your rate of success, you need to double your rate of failure. Now, let me say that one more time. To double your rate of success, you need to double your rate of failure. To triple the rate of success, you need to triple the rate of failure. Okay? How does that work? How do you fail and expect to go farther next time? And you're asking me to fail twice so that I can double my rate of success? Let me tell you how I came to this conclusion. You push yourself harder and you try new things. Make sure that you don't try the things that you did before that are gonna lead you to your failures. And when you try new things, you don't know if you're going to succeed or if you're going to fail. Anybody who thinks they're going to succeed their first go around, man, I hope you succeed. I don't know one person who's ever done it. Not one. Unless they quit right away. You buy something and your idea is to sell it for double. You sell it for double. You got what you got, and then you quit. Okay? But how I came up with that conclusion is, you try new things. I tried 5 or 6 different ways of making construction work. I opened up a warehouse, made good money. I'm not going to tell you that I didn't make money. Thank God I made good money. It is why I am where I am now. But one thing I learned is that when you fall, when you get up, make sure you don't go back to where you were before. You always hear David Goggins say, fall hard. Make it tougher for you to get up, because the reward is bigger. And I can tell you that is 100% true. It is right. Go out there and try new things. Fail 2-3 times. I guarantee you. You're going to work on those failures. So in turn, you're going to succeed the amount of times that you failed on something. Now, multiple failures at the same time, it happens. Get up and fail hard. Fall hard. You'll get up stronger. And those multiple failures are going to become multiple success stories. I guarantee you. One thing about failure is everybody tells you, all the greats, they will always tell you to fail. Fail. It's inevitable that you're going to fail. Okay? It's going to happen. And a lot of people see failure as something that you want to show people that you failed, because you want to show people that you're trying. But one thing I realized, from talking to a lot of people is that a lot of them use failure to fall back and then use the excuse that they failed to let everybody know, look, I failed, but I learned something. I'm not saying go try something and fail on purpose. Try to succeed. Do your best 100%. Finish what you started. If you're not going to finish, don't start. If you know you're going into something that you can't finish and you invest so much into it, save yourself the headache and don't even try. If you're not going to cross the finish line, don't join the race. And it goes for everything, man. If all you do is, freaking cook the noodles, but you're not gonna add the sauce to them, what's the fucking point, man? Don't start something you're not gonna finish. It's not worth the headache. Save yourself the time. Life is short. Start something that you know is gonna benefit you. And if you fail and it really means something to you, then get up and try it again. Try something new. What I did, my experience is every time I fell, I turned around and I tried even harder. Everybody would tell me, dude, you saw what happened last time, man. Do you want to go through the same thing again? Yeah. Why are you going even harder, bro? Fucking, you should take it easy, man. You saw what happened last time, and they always bring up the past. You saw what happened last time. It's fear. They're reflecting their fear on you. Go out there and fail, man. Try harder. It's like you get knocked out during football practice, and you know that you shouldn't go left because those linemen on the left side, man, they're fucking 350 pounds, man. 6'5", 350 pounds minimum. What happens is you fall and those people expect you not to go the same way again. It's like you're fooling them, man. You're juking them. The harder you fall, the more you're going to succeed. Remember that. And try it. And next time you go at it, go even harder than the last time. Just go out there and fail. And in the process, man, try not to fuck anybody over that doesn't deserve it, man. And even if they do deserve it, man, it's just, you don't want to be the one to do it, man, because at one point or another, bro, you're gonna, your line's gonna start doing this and you're gonna walk in a direction where you're not supposed to. And it's your turn, bro. You get what you do to other people. That's why they say, don't snitch, bro. Don't snitch. Even if it's dry snitching, man. Like, don't snitch, bro. Someone's doing something wrong, man. Don't go over there and snitch on them, bro. Because nobody's perfect. Someone's getting something that they don't deserve, And, you go out there and you snitch on them. Eventually, you're going to do something worthy of snitching. But the whole point of this is, somebody told me the other day, you're getting sued again. And I said, yeah. And they're like, maybe it's time for you to just get a 9 to 5 and just whatever. And I said, nah, man. Every single one of those losses have been nothing but a lesson. So it's almost like you're expecting to fail. You want to fail. Can't bring me down. He can't bring you down either. And I'm not perfect, but I don't forget who I am and where I come from. A lot of people say, "Hey, you're supposed to be Christian, man. Why are you drinking? Why are you smoking?" Lately I've been smoking cigars. I don't fucking know why, right? I smoke Cohibas, and I like going home and I like trying nice whiskey. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. A lot of people, more people dying of heart disease than they are of cirrhosis or lung cancer due to smoking. I can tell you that. So just because your habit doesn't smell good in the kitchen doesn't mean that it's more wrong than what it is other people are doing. Too much of something is always bad. But my whole point of this is have no fear, man. Fear is gonna hold you back. And I keep saying it over and over. Do not fear. I actually have a clothing brand coming out called No Fear Lifestyle. No Fear Lifestyle clothing. It's something that I'm working on right now to remind you that you shouldn't have no fear. The Bible mentions have no fear 365 times. That's one time for every day of the year. Have no fear. Every day you should remind yourself that you shouldn't have any fear. And go out there and fail hard. Don't let other people reflect their fears on you. All right? You're never going to get anywhere with that. That goes for relationships, for jobs. That goes for anything that you're doing. Oh, and just so you people know, my weight loss journey is going real good. I went from a size 42 to a size 38, and even a size 38. I feel like I'm in between sizes right now. Not losing as much as I wanted to lose, but I'm definitely not where I was yesterday. And you can take that for what it is. From none to something. I love you guys. Thank you for your love and your support. Thank you for always being there. Share this video, man. Share this video. So that way you can become part of the No Fear movement. Better yourself. I love you guys. And I'm praying for you just as much as you're praying for me. I'll see you on the next one.